Hi there, my name's Calum, and today we're going to be learning a little bit about arthropods. Arthropods are an absolutely amazing group of creatures. They're very diverse and they range in shape and size from horseshoe crabs, which can be about that size, to teeny tiny ants. Now, even though they all look kind of different, they do have some similarities, which allows us to say that they're a big family of animals. All arthropods have a hard external skeleton called an exoskeleton. Now you might be thinking, skeleton? External? That's a bit weird. Our skeletons are on the inside of our bodies. But in arthropods, they wear their skeletons on the outside of their bodies, a bit like a suit of armour. The second feature that all arthropods share is that their bodies are divided into segments. You can see it on this guy just here. The third feature that all arthropods share is they have jointed legs. And I suppose if they didn't have jointed legs, they just wouldn't be able to walk because they couldn't bend their legs. So yeah, that kind of makes sense, I think. Anyway, let's meet some of the groups of arthropods that you can find in your back garden or in your house. First of all, let's look at the crustaceans. Now, crustaceans are things like lobsters, shrimps, crabs, things you would normally find in the sea. And unless you live by the beach, you're probably unlikely to find a crab in your garden. But I can almost guarantee you that there will be tons of crustaceans living in your garden. And that's because this guy, that's right, the humble woodlouse, is a crustacean. Now, they don't look like a crab, but they're basically a shrimp that walks on the land. Now, crustaceans like remaining wet, which is why most of them live in the sea, I suppose. But for woodlice, this is a problem. So to get around this problem, they hide in dark, clammy, moist places like under logs or under stones. They also never ever pee, so they keep all that water there, which is kind of disgusting. And if they get really thirsty and want more water, they can even drink water through their butts. Apparently they can. Who would have guessed? Ugh. Now, another group of creatures you're likely to meet in your garden are these guys, the myriapods, which literally means loads of feet. And that's because this group of creatures have loads and loads of feet. They include millipedes, centipedes, and also some more distant cousins that look a bit like blind centipedes but can produce silk from their butts, which is cool. Now, a lot of people wonder, what's the difference between a millipede and a centipede? And that's a good question. Most people think it's to do with the number of legs. So centipede, 100 feet. Millipede, 1,000 feet. But it's actually got nothing to do with that. The way you can tell them apart is that those segments that make up their bodies have different numbers of legs coming off them. So on centipedes, each segment has one leg coming off on each side. Whereas on millipedes, each segment, or most of the segments, have two legs coming off on each side. So this guy here is quite clearly a centipede. Also, another horrible thing about centipedes is they're not as friendly as millipedes. Millipedes spend most of their time sort of eating rotten junk in the ground, whereas centipedes are active predators. Really large centipedes can even eat bats, snakes, and rats, which is terrifying. Ooh. Another group of creatures you're probably going to find in your garden, and in fact, probably the one you're most likely to find, are the insects. Now, insects are pretty cool. They range in size from tiny little ants to the biggest ones we get in the UK, which are stag beetles, which are about so big. All insects have a few things in common. All insects have 6 legs. They've got 3 body parts, a head, a thorax, and an abdomen. They all have 2 things sticking out their heads. which are called antennae. Now, they don't use them to pick up radio signals or the TV, although that would be really cool, actually, wouldn't it? Yeah. No, what they use them for is they actually use them in place of a nose. So when they're waving them about, actually what they're doing is they're smelling or tasting the air. Kind of weird. Yeah. Another thing that all insects have in common is they've all got 2 compound eyes. Now, compound eyes are a bit different from ours. Our eyes have a single lens in it, and that lens helps us to visualise the world around us. In insects and other creatures like crustaceans, which also have compound eyes, there are actually tens, hundreds, or even thousands of lenses that allow insects to create a picture of the world around them. Now, I've actually got an insect here. So, if you don't mind, I'll go and grab her and I'll show her to you. So everyone, what I've got here is my little pal, Twiggy. Now, Twiggy is a stick insect. You won't find anything like this in the UK, except if you live in Tayport and Fife, because they all escaped and they're in my back garden. Okay? And Twiggy is quite clearly an insect. She has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 legs. She's got 3 body parts. She's got a head, a thorax and an abdomen. And she's also got those 2 things sticking out the top of her head. The feelers, or antenna, which she uses as a nose. She also has 2 compound eyes, which you might be able to make out. Now, a fun fact about most insects is that they've actually got more than 2 eyes. Loads of insects actually have 3 extra eyes in the middle of their head. Now, you can see this if you ever find maybe a dead bee on the windowsill. Look at its head, and you'll notice it's got 3 little dots in the middle, and those are kind of extra eyes for it. Now, I've also got another type of creepy crawly here, and I think we should have a look at them, because I've not mentioned one of the most common things you'll find in your garden or in your house. That is these guys, arachnids. So I'm going to pop her away because she doesn't really like arachnids. There we go. Hi, have you seen this spider? Yeah, it's like not in here. What happens? I can't do the next bit. No, she's not in the screen around. Oh well, I'll just leave it out. Who cares? So, sorry we couldn't do anything with arachnids just there. However, if you want to learn more about arachnids, arthropods, or any other animal that you might find in your garden or even in your house, then please do what people do on social media. Like this page, subscribe, do whatever the heck it is you need to do. Okay, now I've been Calum. I hope you really enjoyed learning about arthropods with me. Bye just now. It's on my back, isn't it? Help, 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 help.